Hello everyone, and welcome to a new session of Eddi Talk. Today we will be discussing teaching vocabulary. And I would like to tell you that David Wilkins was the one who said that without grammar, very little can be conveyed. But without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed. So, as I like to tell my trainees, the vocabulary is the skeleton which keeps the language together. Now first, let us see what is vocabulary. Because vocabulary can actually have different meanings. So we can refer to vocabulary as all of the words in a language. We can refer to vocabulary as the words being used in a particular context. And vocabulary can also be words that an individual knows. Now, very important when we talk about vocabulary is to distinguish two different kinds of vocabulary. For us as speakers of a language and for our students who are learning a foreign language. So we need to make the distinction between active and passive vocabulary. Now, what is active vocabulary? The active vocabulary is the one we use on a daily basis. And it is that vocabulary that our students use with productive skills, such as speaking and writing. Now, there is also something that we call passive vocabulary. Now, this passive vocabulary are those words that we understand, why we identify, we know what they mean, but we do not really use them in a productive way. So this is the vocabulary that our students use with receptive skills, like listening and reading. It is very important to make this distinction between active and passive vocabulary because we want our students to take from our English classes the active vocabulary, and we want them to be exposed to as many words as possible, but words that they can use in an active way, in a productive way, through speaking and writing. Otherwise, there will be a number of words which they will not use, but they will at least be able to understand or identify when they encounter those words in a reading passage, in a listening activity. So it is very important to make that distinction. Now, what it means to know a word. So to know a word refers to actually when we use it. And how do we learn these new words? Now, when we think about our mother tongue, we learn them in a natural way, right? In a context, by being exposed to other people using the language or speaking the language. Now, it's the same thing with our students. We want them to learn new words in a natural way by being exposed to the language as much as we learned our L1, our mother tongue. And that means that we need to expose our students to as much authentic context as possible when we teach vocabulary. Now, how do we select these words? How do we decide which words do we teach to our students? Now, there are 4 criteria which we should take into consideration when teaching vocabulary and selecting words. First of all is usefulness. So we need to make sure that the words that we are teaching are actually useful for our students. Words that our students can use in a normal conversation, in an immediate context. Then the second criteria is frequency. We want to choose those words that are often used in language. We want to choose those words that will be part of the active vocabulary. Another criteria which we should take into consideration is learnability. Can the students learn it? Is it easy for them to learn it? Yeah? Is it similar to any word that they have in their native language? And the last criteria is teachability. Can I teach this word easily? Can it be easily explained or illustrated? Can I offer anything to the students that will make my word memorable to them? So these are the criteria to have in mind when selecting the words we teach in the classroom. Now we are getting to the core of our short session on teaching vocabulary. How do we present vocabulary? Because this is a very, very important issue in English language teaching. Now, depending on your students, if they are young learners, teenagers, adults or young adults, we present vocabulary in different ways. And let's just start with young learners. When we think of young learners, we think of illustrations, realia, objects, real objects, visuals, flashcards. We present most of the vocabulary to them using these kind of visual aids. Another way to present vocabulary to young learners is by using total physical response and miming, body language. We use our body language.